Hey, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Keb and today I'm sharing with you guys my March and April reads. And last these 2 months I read total 8 books, and some of them were 2 books were 5 star, 4 books were 4 star, 1 book is 3 star, and 1 book of 2 star. So let's jump into it, shall we? If we talk about the genre, so I read 1 sci-fi, 1 Indian mythology, 1 non-fiction, and 1 fantasy, and 3 fantasy fiction. So the first book that I read is Demons of Time by Varun Sial, and this is a sci-fi slash thriller book. The last book that I read of his is Time Crawlers, and that was also a sci-fi, and I just loved that book. And this book is just like the first one, and this is fantastic to read because it's a sci-fi with great logics and with magic and fictions and thriller. So I just love this book and I just read it 5 star. The next book that I read has 2 reasons to read. First, she was my favorite author and it is my favorite genre. So the book that I read is Forest of Enchantment by Chitra Banerjee Devkurni, and I just love Chitra Banerjee's work. She is so fantastic with the Indian mythologies, and this is the retelling of the epic Ramayana, but this is not Ramayana actually. This is Sitayan, we can say, because this is a story of Sita. And this is not the complete story of Sita because there is other women that their stories have been also told, that is Manthara, Kekai, Urmila, and all those women. And I just love this concept because this is story of the Sita's husband Ram, who is all devoted to his crown, to his people, to his kingdom, but he forget that he has a duty toward her wife too. And this book also teaches us, the females of this country, to realize that when they should learn to say enough when they get tortured or when the injustice happen to them just because of their husband, relatives, or friends, whatever the people they do, women should learn to say that it's enough and they're not going to do any more things. And I just love this book. This is so fantastic book. I seriously loved it and I rated 5 star. Next book that I read, The Unceremonious Revenge by R.P. Srivastava, and this is completely a story of revenge. There is no any particular story in this, and I just hated this story seriously because there is nothing to read. I just kept on going to just feel like that there will be something interesting happening because the plot was like it was happening and the things were going to be a crazy moment. There is something, a twist. The building of the story was like, yes, it's going very higher and higher and there is something going to be a twist or turn, but the story slips down and it's just very upsetting to read that. And some of the points were so upsetting that I don't think what the author thought when he was writing this book, and I just really don't like it. So I just rated it 2 star. The next book that I read is Half the Night is Gone by Amitabh Bagchi, and there is 2 stories that are going simultaneously together. And the first one is about the Lala Moti Chand, that is the rich man, and there is another that is a servant who is working in that palace. And there is a story of the rich man's 3 children that were basically of the different categories. They were just, some want to learn the business while one goes to the poetry. The life of rich and poor were described in this book very well, but the women in this book, they were of a rich family or of the poor family. There is no difference between the lives of the women. They were struggling, and this story is completely to understand about the women and the servants and the rich people who are going through a lot of things, but they have just one difference, and that is the money, not their lives, because their lives are something going together and with the same situations all through the life. There is so many things that going through in this book, and that is love, betrayal, business, so many things are happening, and I enjoyed this book and I just would love to reread this, so I just end up give it to 4 star. The next book that I read is This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay, and this is a non-fiction, and this is a story of a junior doctor who work in NHS, and This is his diary entries, and this talks about all the incident that's happening in this hospital. This book is funny, this is heartbreaking, and there is some very serious issues that were happening between the teenagers and the old age people. This book just deals with a lot of things, and everything is so perfect to read. And this book also explains the life of a doctor, that they are so neat to their work that they forget their family, their own problems. And there is an incident when something bad happened, and Adams have to leave his job just to forget the moment, but he never did, and so he just acquired a different profession than the doctor. And I just loved this book. Seriously, I love this book. This is so good to read. It is non-fiction, and I don't enjoy non-fiction that much, but this is perfect, and I rated it 4 star. The next book that I read is You Begin Where I End by Sarang Jairaj, and this is a very fantastic book because this mostly talk about love. And so the back of the cover just say that You Begin Where I End is based two unconventional love stories set 2 decades apart, 1991 and 2015, trying to find an answer to the internal dilemma of darlings, what is love. So the first story, that is of Nafisha, who is going through a lot of things. She gone through breakup, beers, and other stuffs were happening bad with her, and she just confused about what the love is really, because she never find the love in any of her boyfriends. And one incident that happened is that Nafisa's mother died, and she just got a diary of her mother, and that is Tamanna, her mother, and she was also facing the same problem. She was against arranged marriage, and she was in contact with a poet who just taught her everything to love and to find what is love. But when she realized what true love is, she just stuck there, and she didn't know how to define it. But that diary helps Nafisa to find out the true love, and I just love this book because it's so funny and entertaining to read, so I just end up giving it 4 star. The next book that I read is The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith, and this is a story of a girl who was raped by his brother's best friend, and she was so helpless that she can't tell her family, neither to her friends, and she was just going through a lot of depression and other things, but she was just so helpless. She can't take anyone's help. This was a very sad story, and the girl that is going through this lot of things were so bad to just read about her, and just you feel helpless too, because the situations were so difficult for her, and I just enjoy reading it. I loved this book, and so I end up giving 4 star. The book that was in my TBR list from a very long time, and I was planning to read it, and finally I read it. Finally, yes, I read it, and that was not that good. The book is As Princess by Laura Sebastian, and I just not happy with it because I was expecting a lot from it, and it did not match my expectations. This is a story of a queen that was awarded with as princess crown, and that was same to every prince or princess. She was just finding a way to get out of the castle. She wanted to fight and get her castle back, but their circumstances were different, and I just did not enjoy it that much because the story was very slow, and the things were going very slowly, and there is no twists and turns in this book. It was a plain and simple story, but I did not liked it so much. I was expecting a lot from it, and it did not meet my expectations, so I'm disappointed with this book. So I rated it 3 star. So guys, these were the books that I read in the month of March and April, and have you read any of the books in this pile? If you have, just let me know in the comment below, and I will be back with another video. Until then, keep reading and keep exploring the world. If you like my video, you know what you have to do, and keep supporting me guys, and thanks for watching. Bye.